Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about social media and how Amazon sellers can use it to build their brands. We're also going to have a live Amazon FBA seller logo review. So today we're going to be finding out various ways of promoting your products with social media, examples of how to post and what to post, and also a very popular fan favorite, the live on-air logo review. So welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with
Okay, like I was just mentioning, we're going to be talking about social media and how Amazon sellers or e-com sellers can help promote their brands, as well as a live. And we've done this 2 or 3 other occasions, and our listeners love it. So this is a live logo review with Michael Kurtz. So he's going to be coming on very shortly. Well, when it comes to creative ventures, our guest has done it all, from television, video games, and marketing for tech startups. A graduate from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh with a degree in industrial design, he studied and understands how the consumer thinks. He is a return guest. I think he's probably one of our most return guests. People love it when Michael comes on and he goes through our live logo reviews. So we'll be getting to Michael shortly. Let's have a word from our sponsor. If you're selling on Amazon in 2022, you know how important it is to stand out from your competition. Let Honu Worldwide lend a helping hand with your product innovation to outcompete your competition online. That's right. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the success of your newly innovative product while Honu handles all the work. Visit HonuWorldwide.com for more information. That's Honu, Honu, worldwide.com, or email savings@HonuWorldwide.com. Okay, where is the boy?
That's
Should I
me.
say
Hello.
the man, the myth, the legend?
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Lunch with Norm. This is our very special episode, one of my favorites, our logo review. So I'm going to just post this right here just to get everything going. We already have about 11, 12 entries. So thank you everyone who's sending them in. But basically we're doing things a little different. You can send in your logo reviews to my email down below, k@lunchwithnorm.com. And if you want to provide some context to your logos, like the niche that it's in, what kind of product, if you want to keep it completely confidential or like anonymous, just let me know. But please know that this will be shown to a group of people, our Facebook group, YouTube, and our listeners. So
many thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, I'd say, even. Our huge audience we have. Welcome, Cool Hand 99. Welcome, Jessica Rabbit. It's great to see everyone. As Jessica said, it's one of her favorite Lunch with Norm guests. It's one of my favorite Lunch with Norm guests, so I can't wait to get started. And before we do get started, make sure you smash those like buttons, give us a thumbs up. If you're watching from YouTube, hit that subscribe button down below and ring that bell. It lets you get all the notifications when we go live. And we also have a great giveaway. It's going to be good. So we do giveaways every single podcast, but stay tuned for more information on that. And I think we can get started. Also, if you have any questions, I'm sure, Norm, what if someone has a question, what do they do?
Thank you, Kelsey. They put it in the comments section, but not only questions, comments. So we'd really like to hear about your social media and just good, bad, or ugly. We'll be posting a few questions as we go on with talking with Michael. So Kelsey, is that it? Did you interrupt enough, or are you going to do
just one thing? We will be doing the logos in just a few minutes. So maybe like 15, 20 minutes. We want to make sure we have enough time to get all the logos in first. So just stay tuned. We will be getting to the logos. We promise. So that's
how many logos are we going to be able to do? Like, we've got 12 already, right?
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. That is a good question.
So we'll have to have, if people are sending them in, we'll have to have a cutoff time because it takes a few minutes for each one to go through it.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll have to play it by ear. So get them in now if you want to get them reviewed, because we don't know how many we're going to get. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, fantastic. Now get out of here. Get out of here. All right. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the episode. Welcome, Mr. Kurtz.
Hello. It's great to be back.
Yeah, great to have you back. Haven't talked to you in a little while.
Yeah, I've missed you.
Aw. And right back at you. So, hey, this was a little bit crazy getting onto this podcast today because I was running a little bit late and just kind of ran on. But look, if I missed anything, why don't we just back up a little bit and make sure that we have your proper bio? I've talked about a few things, but what did I miss?
Nothing. No, you nailed it.
Okay, then.
Yeah, it was great. No, I was listening to it going, wow, I sound really impressive.
Okay, well, let's just get into this. So when Kelsey was talking to me about you coming back on, I thought this is great. We're going to be talking about logos. We're going to be talking about design, and we've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
But then you guys hit me with a curveball, and that's about social media.
Yes.
And working with branding and Amazon sellers with social media. I think this is going to be a great topic. And then we'll follow up with a what do they call it? A no-hitter at the end.
Yeah.
It'll. Yeah. I mean, I love doing these live logo requests. How many times have we done it? Twice?
I think this is the 4th or 5th time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, let's start. Why don't we talk about social media and what's right and what's not right for the individual Amazon seller?
Sure. So first things first, obviously, depending on what you're selling and why you're selling it, it really comes down to, is it right for you? So, if you're someone who's created their own product or is a artisan who's maybe you make jewelry or maybe you make anything, any kind of product that's your product, social media is perfect for you. And there's no right or wrong way to do it as long as you do it a lot.
Okay. All right. So there's no right or wrong way of doing it, but I've seen some pretty horrible social media accounts out there, like people that, well, let's put it this way. Just because your spouse's girlfriend's pet does social media, they shouldn't be doing social media for you. And look at that. Is that one of my mugs?
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, it is.
Fantastic.
That is branding in its purest of forms.
And I'm not even doing mine today. I'm doing the private label Legion.
That's
today.
all right. But you know who is doing it? Kelsey.
You. Oh, okay.
He's got it too.
I'm not used to Kelsey doing things properly.
We bonded over our mugs before you got on this morning.
Okay. Well, I'll just text my wife right now to bring me one down. So let's go back to talking to social media and promoting.
Sure.
One of the things that I've noticed is that when you're an Amazon seller, a lot of people are just starting out and they don't have the cash. And I understand them not doing social media. It kind of comes down the line. However, I don't know how your thoughts are on this, but I do recommend finding an audience and just getting something up there. So just so you're there, people want to make sure that you're real and that you do something that's consistent. What do you think about that?
I applaud what you say. You're right. You're 100% right. Because here's the thing. What we don't acknowledge social media as, and this is what it is for everybody, whether you're posting pictures of cats or you're marketing a product, social media is advertising. 100%. If you're posting pictures of your cats, you're advertising your cats or yourself or both. And the whole point of it is to just bring attention to yourself. So why not use that to grow your product? And you're right. Even if you don't have the cash to pay for ads and things like this, you can still do posts. You can still, aim for viral videos. You can still aim for shares with the things that you post. And by directing the content to be about the product you're marketing, so obviously you don't want to mix personal with professional. So, have your personal account where you post your pictures of cats to your friends and family, and then have one that's specifically dedicated to let your customers, your fans, whatever, get to know the brand that you want them to know. And so by doing that, you're right. You can totally start to grow a following. 10 people knowing about you is more than 0 knowing about you. So to be able to post things you can post sales, you can post product updates, you can post new product announcements, you can, just post things that people can check in with to say, oh, I didn't forget about this brand, right? So let's say you're selling coffee mugs, right?
Yep.
You got the coffee mug. So to say, hey, we've got this new style of coffee mug out. Let's post about it. Or you have a social media account that people can tag you with to say, hey, look, I'm drinking out of my Lunch with Norm coffee cup. And just it allows people to connect with you. And by using TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn to understand how they work, so that you're not just posting the same thing across everything, but Instagram could be more fun stuff. LinkedIn is more professional stuff. For example, if you're selling cups that can be custom made, right? So you can, for LinkedIn, you can say, hey, this is a great thing to send your clients. For every client that spends $1,000, you send them a free coffee cup, and you can mention like those kinds of tips on LinkedIn, but then Facebook, you do something else with. And so it's really kind of coming up with a strategy. And that goes back to where I said you can't really do it right or wrong, because it matches the personality of your business. It matches the personality of you, kind of what you think works. So it's not a case of this is what you have to post on Facebook and this is what you have to post on Instagram. It's what you think fits. It's what you want to do. And again, are you doing it yourself, or do you have enough extra in the budget to hire someone? If you're doing it yourself, then you also have to understand your time constraints, because believe it or not, it does take longer than you think.
Right.
It's not necessarily a case of, I'll just snap a picture of a coffee cup and throw it up there, because if it's a bad picture of the cup, there's a glare over the logo. What purpose does it serve at that point? So, that's all really important. So what you want to do is you want to think about the products you're selling and say, how do I reach out to people through social media? Because again, even if you're not using the paid ads and the things like that, you're still getting free advertising that you can reach out to. Again, you can join groups, you can join, there's thousands of ways to do this, and it really fits into your financial and time budgets.
I was in Orlando recently, and I had an awesome time talking with Stephen Black. I don't know if you know Stephen, but he knows his stuff. I mean, the guy he's been on the podcast a couple times. He's just a great guy. And one of the things that he told me about a year ago, and one of the tricks he does is he goes into different groups. So let's say I'm selling a pet product. He uses scuba diving, and he'll go deep into different types of, I had no idea there was like so many scuba diving niches, but he'll go into like this different scuba diving niche, and he'll hear the tone, the voice of the group. Then he'll capture that voice and he'll bring it back to his social media, because the people that are talking, not only, and this is what's really cool, a lot of the words or keywords or shortcuts, or I forget what the term is, but anyways, people wouldn't think of looking for that on Amazon. So you could add it to your keywords or add it to your title or add it to wherever, but you also take that tone in the voice and put it into your social media account.
Right.
And
Brilliant.
then somebody knows, what you're talking about, And
Yep.
you can, and for me anyways, I think this all starts building that you're the authority.
Yes.
You're the authority, you can build trust, and that will equal sales in the long run.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and it's a brilliant way of thinking.
Yeah, one of the other things, we touched on consistency at the beginning. If you don't have a content calendar, go out, find one. They're free, or you could go to places like Post Planner, which is great for content curation, or Hootsuite has one. There's a ton out there. We use Buffer.
I've used Buffer. Yeah.
They're great, and Social Sprout's another one. But that social calendar lets you know, first of all, and we'll get to this one in a second, but the different types of content that you're putting out there, and that you're putting it out consistently. If people are expecting something on a Monday, post Mondays. If you're doing it
Right.
Monday, Wednesdays, Friday, or if you're like on Twitter and you're doing it 3 or 4 times a day, and just make sure that you do it consistently. And that calendar will help you be on track.
Well, and what's nice about things like Buffer and some of the other sites is you can actually schedule it. So there's a lot less stress of, oh my gosh, I got to be home at Wednesday at 3:00 so that I can post my thing. You could just schedule it and it takes care of it. And, like Buffer has a free plan.
Yeah.
There's a couple other sites that have a free thing so you can try it out and work within your budget as you expand. So I'm a huge fan of those types of sites because it's just, you can set it and forget it. And that way you can kind of say, every Friday I'll put next week's posts together and then just schedule them, because again, part of it too is knowing when to post them. Obviously you don't want something to post at 1 a.m. if the people who are shopping are asleep at 1 a.m. Maybe they're not though. Maybe 1 a.m. is the perfect time. But again, that's up to you to know when the people who are using your products are going to be on social media the most. That's like the best time to reach and make sure they see the message.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the content. I know I took my thumb off of the brand and I let a so-called social media manager run it, and I thought everything was okay. And then I came back to it, and it was completely messed up. The way that they got their followers, they were just going after cheap clicks. The engagement itself, like on the Instagram, is horrible. It's got a motivational quote, promo, motivational quote, the same promo, motivational quote, the same promo.
Right.
And I looked at it and went, oh my gosh, what did they do to my brand?
Yeah.
But that's my fault. I should have been on it, but I took it at their word that they were fantastic, and I'll never do that again. Let's talk.
And that's I was going to say, that's the thing is too, part of that is making sure if you're going to hire someone to do that, which I'm not saying you shouldn't. I've heard many and had experiences that are similar to yours, but I've also heard the opposite. So again, I'm not saying not to do that. Just make sure you do your homework for if you hire someone that they actually do know what they're doing and are up on social media, because it changes. The entire landscape changed when TikTok came out.
Yeah.
People switched and things like that.
One of the things I just want to ask the listeners, have you had a terrible social media experience, and what was it? Okay. And if you want to post the good ones too, you can. But let's go back. And one of the things, like when I've hired a lot of different social media people, one of the things I've always found is that when I've asked for social media, they'll show me some creative. And then I'll ask, okay, well, what about your copy? And then it's what about engagement? Those are the 3 things you need: engagement, copy, and creative. What I found is I can get 2, but I can never find somebody that can deliver all 3. You have to almost do a second hiring. For me, Right now, like we're in the middle of doing a lot of social media for our clients as well as our brands. I don't know about you, but that person is not out there.
I think I think you're going to have a hard time finding that person because they have to understand you, right? They have to understand the personality of the business and things like that, and how the brand works. And I think that's really hard, as you were saying, right there. Oh, we're going to post a bunch of motivational quotes, and you're like, that doesn't fit with what I'm doing. And so for me, I've tried to do as much as I can as possible of just like, here's the posts I want to make. And then you put them out there. You track the analytics, you do this, you do that. And I think you're right. I think finding all three is really difficult.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to look in the mirror to realize the person who can do some of that is you, especially if you're a smaller business. Now, obviously, if you're a bigger business, you're going to have a marketing person or a marketing department that should be taking care of it. But, again, it comes down to, what do you want those posts to say? And that's where you're 100% right that content is really important, because, if Lunch with Norm's social media is only posting cats, like you said, great, they're easy clicks. Oh, I love cats. They're so cute. Ha, ha, ha. But is anybody watching it going, oh man, I gotta tune into that show. I'm gonna learn a lot.
Yeah.
And where, is it being posted in cat appreciation forums? Again, easy clicks. Look, I have all these likes and all this stuff, but how do those likes translate into income? How is it monetized? And so, again, there's no right or wrong, but there is, that was really dumb. If that makes sense.
One of the other things too, when you're looking into social media, I just like with hiring a VA, I think when a lot of people hire a VA the first time, they believe they can hand off their work and they'll be an expert in everything.
Right.
When you're hiring a social media manager, they don't know about your brand. And I think it's very important that you understand your brand, that you have either created an art spec sheet, so a logo spec sheet with your colors, and you keep to these colors. They're called Pantone colors, or very specific colors. Or you have something, industry insight, something that you can give the social media manager. So number one, they can understand where you're going, who your audience is. And I always push Rand Fishkin's Spark Toro. Go into his, like, spend the $49, play around with it for a month, and see if you can find your audience or who your competitors' audience is. But you got to know these things. And brand story, if you don't have a brand story, you got to start there.
Yes.
You have to start there. And then you can't just hand it off. It's not just something that you can say, okay, see you later. You can get those templates, incorporate those colors, and then diversify the material. It's not promo, like what happened in mine. It's coming up with a question template, a motivational quote template, some curated content. I mean, there's tons of different types of content you could put in there. And, we could talk about that, but what do you think about brand story? How important is that?
It's crucial. It's literally the most important part of your business, right? Because let's say, for example, we'll veer off of social media, but come back to it, because I know there's a bunch of questions that have been asked that, but if you take two hamburger places, right? You've got McDonald's and you've got, I don't know, Five Guys. They're completely different experiences when you walk through the door, but they sell the same product, right? It's a hamburger. And if you're in the mood for a hamburger, you're going to go, well, you're going to pick it not because of the hamburger. You're going to pick it because of price. You're going to pick it because of location. You're going to pick it because of quality. You're going to pick it because of numerous different variables.
Right.
But that's why you're going to make the choice, right? I mean, if you're, McDonald's is 2 minutes away, Five Guys is 20 minutes away. That's going to influence your choice. But that's part of the brand story, where McDonald's is on every corner, right? There's 1,000 McDonald's to one Five Guys. So essentially, and so somebody's asking to define the brand story. So hopefully I'm doing a good job, but if not, tell me what I'm missing. But yeah, so it's the story of your brand. It's the personality of the business, right? McDonald's is, when we think McDonald's, we think fast kids, there's a clown, they got, play places. And when you think Five Guys, you think something different. And so again, that's all what helps the consumer make the choice, but also helps connect with the personality of the individual consumers, because, oh, this matches me, right? Like, we meet people that we go, I can't stand that person. And somebody else goes, what? They're amazing.
Yeah.
And so it's the same with business. It's literally the personality of the business and the experiences that tie into that make you either enjoy being with that business or not. And so, I don't know. Am I explaining that well? Does that make sense to someone who's not familiar with brand story? Is it simplified enough? Because I can go deeper if you'd like.
Yeah, it's living your brand. If you live it, like the Lunch with Norm, all the colors,
Right.
orange, black, the logo is pretty much everywhere. It's on our social media. It's on our website. Like, if you take a look at everything that we do, we try to make it consistent. We try to make the fonts consistent. What's a good font? What's a bad font? So if you take that and you use it on your Amazon brands, it's the exact same thing.
Right.
And it goes back to the people. Well, first of all, if they have the brand personality, or if they see you and they see that you're consistent, you're going to have that trust. If you're all over the board, and I've seen it, if you're all over the board and you're cluttered and you just don't know what the messaging should be to your audience, then that's what it'll be. It'll be a very confusing message, and nobody will know what your brand's all about. Now, it could be very simple too. You could just say that, you were visiting a location, you came across X, this product, and that when you came home, you found that X was, really, you loved it. You decided to get into it. Something that simple. You don't want to take a brand story and say, that I use this on the podcast quite a bit, that you climbed Mount Everest, found a Himalayan salt mine, dug it out, and, something that's not believable. It's got to be believable.
Right.
And you have to live it. If you, a lot of the times, like, you always have your information behind you in green, right?
Right.
Company in green. And I'm sure if we go over to your website or to your social media, we're going to find something very consistent with that.
Yes. Actually, what's funny is,
Michael,
I also use a lot of orange.
Hold it. Just 1 second, Michael.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, there it is.
There.
Now we're all on the same page.
Why did you make me drink out of this cup?
I did not.
That's not my brand. Well, it is.
So I want to say that Nathan is right. What he's saying is exactly correct. You can't focus on the people that say, right, if you're selling hamburgers, you can't focus on the vegan market and say, why aren't they eating my hamburgers? They're not going to. And so I use this example a lot, and I think this will probably help with brand story, and then we can kind of move on to back to the content of this. This is my story, and you can find it in some of my videos, which is, you're on a plane and it's terrible turbulence. It's a red eye. You land, it's like midnight. All you want to do is just get something to eat and go to your hotel. So you're driving down the street, right? You're in your rental car, you're driving down the street, and there's restaurants everywhere. And so what are you going to do to make sure that you don't pick one that's filled with yelling, screaming kids or drunk guys that are watching the game? You just want a nice, quiet place where you could sit and eat your meal in peace and then go to the hotel and pass out. And you're going to do that by, when you pull up to the restaurant, I mean, we've all done this. We pull up to a restaurant and we go, oh, there's going to be a bunch of kids in here, or oh, I don't think I'm dressed right for this.
Yeah.
This looks like a place that wants me to have a tie on or something like that. And you can tell that just by the building. That's the brand story. Is what you're doing with your brand telling people what's going to happen when they walk through the door, right? If I pull up in front of a jewelry store, oh, I'm going to get something cheap that my wife's going to go, really, this is all I'm worth to you? Or am I going to get something that she goes, wow, this is really beautiful, but do we need all that credit card debt? And you can tell that as soon as you look at the store, you don't even have to walk in, that you could say, yeah, I'm not going to be able to afford anything in here.
Yeah.
And so it translates to social media as well, by what kind of posts are you creating. So if your products that you're selling on Amazon or Etsy or wherever are high end, then your posts need to represent that. You're not going to do posts that talk about silly things because, well, we're a very prestigious company. Or if you're selling stuff that's for kids, then obviously all of your stuff should be bright colors and fun fonts. And again, what font is right for one company is not right for another, because all of those little details tell a subliminal story that, whether you realize it or not, you pick up on. Because like I said, that's why when you pull up in front of a restaurant, you go, yeah, there's going to be a lot of kids in here, and that's not going to work for our Valentine's Day date. So,
I just we've talked about McDonald's. I don't know if you know this, a little bit of sad news. The original Ronald McDonald just died this week.
no.
Fred
That's
Ward.
terrible news.
Fred Ward was, I believe he was the original Ronald
Fred
McDonald.
Ward was?
Yep.
Nuh-uh. Not Remo Williams.
Yep.
Wow.
But I saw that on the news this week. But not a lot of people know that he was the original.
I did not. Wow. See?
Yeah.
We can all learn something.
Another little piece of, a lot of people don't know. I know the actual Ronald McDonald, the guy who worked at the first restaurant that his uncles owned before it was.
Wow.
The
That's
carpet
so
was
cool.
pulled under them. Yeah. So anyways, let's get back to this. For the listeners, I want to know about your brand story. Have you created the brand story, and are you being consistent? And if not, why? Also, we have got a great giveaway today. Michael, why don't we just talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
It's already 12:36.
That's all right. So what I do is I have a website portal that people can go on. I have a bunch of educational videos on how your brand works, and I break it down for things like social media, logos, branding, how to do these things accurately for your brand. So a lot of the stuff that Norm and I have talked about. So what I'm giving away is a year's access to these videos. And then there's a portal where you can ask more specific questions. So kind of things like we're doing today with the logo review, where you can post things that you're working on and say, hey, Mike, can I have your expert opinion on whether or not you think this works? And help me refine it. And, people find it really useful because it's, you basically get access to my brain whenever you need it. So, and like I said, we're giving away a free subscription to that for a year if the Wheel of Kelsey lands on your name.
Fantastic. So like you said, if you want to enter, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get a second entry. And so we'll be doing that just probably in about 30 minutes or so.
Perfect.
Oh, all right. Now,
so speaking of content, one thing I want to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but one thing that I want to say is there's a couple things you need to be really, really adamant about. And that is, one, every post you make has to have your logo on it, because people are going to see the post and they're going to go, wow, this is great. And then they're not going to know where it came from. Even if they see your avatar, or they see this, because as soon as they share it somewhere else, that connection to you is lost. So always have your logo on it. And it also helps because then people start going, oh, wow, I've seen like 10 things from from this company or this person, and every single one of them I've always liked and shared and things like
Yep.
that. So I must really like this. And then they do a Google search for something one day, and your logo pops up in the Google search, and they go, wow, hey, I know this, I recognize this. And so you're just building familiarity with your brand and your company by having your logo on every single thing you post. Make sure it's on the main page. Make sure, if it's a business page, make sure the logo is, or your avatar is the logo, things like that. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your website is clickable somewhere in the post. One, because it helps direct people to it, and two, Google will read that in the various social medias, and it will help your SEO.
There's one other thing that's really kind of cool. Well, first, hashtags. Make sure that there's a unique hashtag or your company name or brand name. But if you have a unique post, or if you've got content like a blog article or something along those lines, and you're using Gmail, put the link. You can use a URL shortener. Put the link into your email and change it up. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but Google indexes Gmail.
Yes.
So if you do that, you're going to just get a bit more exposure. It's free exposure. So we do that. We change it up once in a while, but we'll just have, check out our latest social post or check out our latest news, whatever it is. So it's just something else going forward. But going back to the hashtags, it's very important that you include hashtags.
Yes, and if you're not familiar with how they work, it's essentially, and I'm gonna simplify this a lot. So essentially, it's the same thing as using keywords on a website. It helps when you're searching. It helps the social media site know what to show the person who's searching. So obviously, if on Facebook you see hashtag Wheel of Kelsey all over the place, if somebody types in Wheel of Kelsey, it's going to help direct, oh, here's posts with Wheel of Kelsey.
Right.
Versus if there weren't, then it might not put you as high up in the priorities, if at all. So speaking of content, somebody asked the question, are cartoon characters good for the brand? Well, the answer to that is maybe. It depends on the brand. I have literally a cartoon character of myself that is all over the website, and a whole cast of other cartoon characters that I interact with in the videos and on the site. So it's kind of cute. The whole website looks like it's hand drawn, and so for me and my personality, yes, it's perfect. But again, if you're selling high-end jewelry, no, you don't want a cartoon character of a squirrel running around, because people are going to look at that and go, oh, this must be jewelry for kids or something like that. They're not going to understand that, oh, no, we're selling, $10,000 watches that, we handcraft ourselves in a small village in Italy. It's not going to send that message. So what are you trying to tell your customers? What are your customers looking for? And that's how you decide if the cartoon character is right.
Yeah, and you can even look at these type of podcasts. So this podcast is a very casual podcast, kind of kicked back. Using an animation or cartoon character is fine. Mm-hmm. But there are some podcasts out there, and lots of them, that have a much more serious approach, a much more serious audience, and they could not go forward with a cartoon character.
No,
again, it's just knowing your audience.
Right. You're talking to them in the language they understand, not talking to them in your language and hoping they understand.
Right. Okay. So there's still a bunch of questions about social, but should we get into the logos now? I think we can come back and have Michael. Why don't we have you back and we'll talk more about social?
Sure. I'd love to.
because I just know that getting into these logos is going to take a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's a deep dive we're doing here, especially with all these entries that we're getting in. So
Right.
again, thank you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry, I
Michael.
didn't mean to step on you. My apologies.
I was just saying, thank you for everyone who have been sending in your logos. We've got a bunch, and I'm super excited to get into these. So, yeah, we can get into them if you guys are ready.
Ready.
Ready? Okay, here we go. So, a couple of these we may have seen before, but they've been revamped. Others, a lot of them are completely new. So, let's take a look. All right, and I left some notes here. I'm going to try and make these as big as I can. So this is Salt Drop. It's a beach and active lifestyle brand. They do fitness, surfing, dance. It's for all genders, but the majority is probably for women. And then this is some of the branding on some of the products here. So first thoughts?
Nora?
Can you go back to the products?
Yep.
I mean, everything is consistent. Let me see. I don't mind. I like the consistency. The logo itself, Salt Drop. I mean, you can see it in the logo. The font. I like the font. I like the font and the logo side by side. Now, one thing you might want to go back up, Kelsey. Okay, you see the top letter where there's a notepad right beside it. The next one, no, the other. Yeah. Okay, on there you see Salt Drop with the logo on top, and I think that's okay because it's, if you take a look, it's a pyramid kind of shape or triangular shape. I was going to say that you might want to take a look at it to the right, like put a logo to the right of it, but it looks good. I mean, I don't have a lot of criticism on this, especially if you've got these types of products. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. I think it's nice and clean.
Yeah.
I like the logo because it's interesting because it's drops, but then weirdly, subliminally, you pick up on both an S and a
S
D.
and a D. Yeah.
Right. Like, even though it's not an S or a D, but it's implied somehow, and it's real clever. I like the color. Because obviously, I'm guessing you picked the color because of, since you said it had something to do with like beach stuff.
Yeah, beach and active lifestyle. So I think like surfing,
it's
beach
it's the color of like the ocean in the Bahamas and things like that.
And even this
salt water.
This waves are splashing up right there. I like.
Yeah.
There's I don't have any criticism of it. I think whoever did this did a great job. Just remember, you want to probably trademark, so you want to put TM just to show that it is active.
Yeah, I like the R because the font is all basic, but there's enough kind of uniqueness in that R that it makes it pop a little bit, but not in an obnoxious way. Like, it's very subtle. Everything about this design is subtle but interesting.
Okay, so on the two thumbs Kurtz scale, what would you give this?
I give it 2 thumbs.
All right.
Both of my thumbs were off the screen. Let me try it again. I give it 2 thumbs.
Okay, and just to note, the products that you see below, that's just like a branding consistency.
Yep. Sure.
That's not actually their products.
Yep, that's fine. It looks good.
Still, yeah, it looks good.
And we had a question from the person who is watching now. They say, do you think the font appeals to both men and women?
It's neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, it's neutral. I think it appeals to everyone because it's subtle. Like that's the thing is it's like the script font is relaxed. It just feels relaxed to me, kind of fun and relaxed. And then, but it doesn't contradict the font of the logo in any way.
Yeah. Okay, off to number two. Number two, this is a brand that makes dog shoes and other pet items. Right now, they're focusing on dog shoes and then eventually other pet items. They don't want to say their business name, but
no
it starts with a P. And this is the logo.
I like it. It's clear. You see the P, you see the dog, you see the
Little
paw.
dog.
Multi-layered. I like logos that are multi-layered and kind of tell more than one story. The stories overlap, but they're, you know, every time you look at it, you see something a little bit more interesting. And this type of logo, even though it's simple, it keeps your eyes focused on it. It's hard to look away because there's just interesting things going on.
And for our listeners who are not watching the podcast, it is a paw, and there's a little dog within like the paw print in it itself.
So
right, but then the dog's head is what helps turn the paw into the letter P. This one's cool.
Now, one of the things that is not shown here would be the brand name. So if, let's say that this was called pet.com, all right, it'd be nice to own that. But pet.com, I would probably have a couple of different versions. You have this, and then you bring up the font up to either the height of the end of the circle of the P, and you just make it a smaller font, or you bring it up to the top of the circle, and that could actually be your P, and you can write out the font, or you just forget about that and you have the name of the brand in a fun font, below it or to the right of it, or probably to the right of it. I don't know what you think about that, but I know we do this. We do this with soap, and we have these little funky little bubbles for the O, so we, SO, and it's kind of funky, and then AP.
Right. Well, and the thing that's cool about logos is there's two ways to do it. So one, you could do it so that the logo is incorporated into the name, like Burger King, right? Burger King, it's incorporated in the name. But then you can also do it where it's separate. So essentially you could move the name all around this logo. So you could have it smaller underneath to make a triangle. You can have it next to it to make a rectangle. And even if, and I love the idea of, the P, since it starts with P, I'm assuming that, and then the rest of the name. So that'll be the P and then the rest of the name afterwards. But you could even, depending on the font, you could even, if you move it underneath, could just add the P to the name if it's underneath, and you could add a .com if it's underneath. But essentially, like, this is one of those ones that when you do a Google image search can pop up in 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
But it's, like I said, it's nice and crisp and clean. Even if you don't have the name, it's still easily recognizable. So, if you use it in like the upper left corner of all your images for social media, it's easy to put on a business card as just the image on one side and then the image and the name on the other. It's easy for, if you're doing a website and, it starts out real big as somebody enters the website, but then as they scroll down, it pops up in the corner and then you don't need the whole name. I mean, there's 1,000 things that you could do with this style of logo, just with the name and the image itself. It would be a lot of fun to play with, I think.
Yeah. Even if, and this is just, throwing it out there, if you get rid of the paw and it's just the P, that would be kind of cool too.
I disagree. I think because of the multi-layered story.
Yeah.
I think that those four little toes add a lot to it. I think if you took those out, it would be less impactful.
I would like to see the brand and see how that's incorporated into it. But I mean, like I said, I was throwing it out there. If it was too busy, then maybe it's just a P because you could still see it's stylized with the dog in it. But yeah, I still agree that this is a good looking logo as well. All right, Kels.
Okay, and some comments from the audience. It is saying, "We love dogs. You can even find a love symbol. Great job." And let me see.
Awesome near.
Okay, so next one. This is Organic Oral Care. So this is an emerging natural oral care company, gluten-free, vegan. It's PETA certified, eco-friendly. They use only good ingredients, quality ingredients. And here we go.
I don't know. I think it's nice and clean. Organic or oral care. Like how you bring the leaf into it. I'm not sure about the color. I mean, it look. You might want to experiment with the color too and the leaf. I don't know about you, Michael, but when I think of something that's organic, natural, I like bringing in greens or blues, in crisp colors, and I think going with the teals and for those of you who can't see this, it's a stylized ORL with a leaf going through the O with a very fine font, all caps, organic oral care. But that would be my thoughts on it. And just in case you are promoting this without the trademark or registered trademark, you can put the TM, but you can't. I'm not a lawyer. This is my disclaimer, but you can put the TM there showing commercial use or potential commercial use, but the R is only when you register.
So my thoughts on this, and I'm curious to see what you think of this. I think the reason for the color, because my first thought when I saw the color was, it reminds me of the color of toothpaste, right? That
Yeah.
mint, the mint color. And under any other circumstances, I would have said, well, the leaf has to be more green, like a greenish yellow. But obviously, it would be weird. I don't think it would fit if you tried to do some kind of mouth or tooth or something like that in this, because it's clearly a higher end oral care product, especially
Right.
the way that it's described of PETA certified. Obviously if you're just selling toothpaste, you're not necessarily going to reach out and go, we're PETA certified, we're this, we're that, and so I feel like this is a higher end, something you'd buy at Whole Foods versus, Kroger's. But I think the only way to kind of bring that in is by using the color of toothpaste, because, hey, we've got the leaf, but instead of having it be green, we'll make it like a minty color to kind of, imply stuff. And I might be totally off the mark. They might have just picked it because teal is a cool color. But like I said, my first thought was it reminds me of toothpaste.
That was my first thought too. Like the peppermint kind of color.
All right.
Okay.
So what did you think about the crisper colors though? Forget the mint leaf. What about the ORL, organic oral care?
I like it. It's easily transposable, so you can reverse it. So you could make the background that color and the text white. It also, you could make the text the teal and the leaf white. So there's a bunch of different ways that you could do it. So I think, again, I'm guessing because I have no idea what's in the minds of the person who came up with this, but I'm guessing it's designed to be really versatile. I like the font, again, because the description of it makes it sound like a higher end product. And I feel like the font for the logo and the font for the name, while different, are so similar that they match. Like, they feel higher end to me. They feel, like if you look at the R, it's fancy. yeah, I think it worked. For me personally, I think it works. Like I said, if I saw that sitting on the shelf, I would go, ah, that's probably expensive. Which is it's not a bad thing, because if
Yeah.
you know, again, if you're vegan and you want something that's PETA certified, I feel like a lot of those people, like, I don't care what it costs, I want to help out. And so this tells you, as soon as you look at it, like, this is we're the toothpaste or the oral care products for you.
Now, just to bring this out too, organic, the word organic in there, I'm not sure. I don't see, Kelsey, I don't have the information on the brand, but I'd be careful if you're not organic certified. You could have some people come after, well, again, it depends. I know with some products that I have, I can say that the product is organic certified, but when it touches other essential oils, all of a sudden that organic certified goes away. So I can't claim that. So just be careful on the organic. If it is organic certified, then you got no problem with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And they also noted, oh, sorry, Michael.
go ahead, Kelsey. Go ahead.
They were just going to say, they even said the packaging, they don't use any like the plastic tubes or bottles. It's all glass or aluminum bottles.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I was gonna say, because of trends and things like that, there are a lot of people that are using organic when it's not organic certified, because there's, unless it's organic certified, there's not really any regulations for natural, all natural, organic. Like, these are all kind of words that you can use loosely and say, well, we said it's organic. We never said it was organic certified. And, other than some backlash, you're not going to get in any, false advertising trouble for doing it.
Mm.
Right. Okay, on to our next. Also, before we move on, just want to say, if you're watching from YouTube, if you want to just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. And if you're watching from Facebook, give us a like and follow. And let's see our next account. So this is a golfing brand. I do not have the name or anything, but just the logo for this one.
It's an interesting logo. I mean, it's, I like the story that it's clearly golf. I mean, that's the second you see it, you go, oh, it's golf. It's another one of those logos that, as you look at it, it's subtle, but there's a lot of moving parts to it, like the one we looked at earlier. And it keeps your eye focused on it, because you're trying to, the curvy lines and things like that. There's definite eye flow movement where you start on the circle in the head, and then you kind of branch out, and your eye starts exploring it more and more. And it's something that excuse me, let me try that again. It's an interesting logo in that it really does keep your eye focused on it. And I think that's always an important thing to have in a logo, is the longer you look at it, the more your brain is going to remember it.
Yeah. So if you're on a podcast, this kind of looks like a yin and yang sign on acid, with a circle above the top right with a golf club. And
Yeah.
I'd be curious, like when I first looked at this, does the brand have an S in it, and does it have an I in it? I'm just kind of curious about that.
Yeah.
And that would be cool if it did. It's hard for me to say, like, this logo could have really nailed it, depending on what you're trying to sell. It is unique. I'll say that it is unique, but if you've got that S or even the SI, I think that would work. And also, like, the brand itself, if we knew, because this to me it's kind of like a flowing thing. Is it about a golf swing? Is it about how to improve your golf swing? Because I can see that wrapping up from the left, going around the head to where the golfer's club is. It might work. But anyways, if we could kind of get that information, that would be good.
Yeah.
And maybe we can come back to that either this show or another.
Yeah, I was going to say knowing the name would be incredibly helpful because, and even kind of what it represents, because
Yeah.
I mean, it could be golf balls, like you said, it could be golf lessons. I mean, is it the logo for a YouTube channel? Is it, there's a lot of different things it could be, and obviously, like you said, like there are letters kind of sort of implied in there.
Mhm.
Somebody else mentioned that they see a G, which as soon as they said it, I was like, oh yeah, there's the G.
Okay, where? Oh,
It's
yeah.
there it is. Like
Yeah.
and so that's what I mean, and which would make sense because G for golf, but then there's S for swing and I for I hit it in the water hazard.
That's my game.
But yeah, no, I think, like I said, if we're going image only, I really like the image, but I'd love to know the rest of the brand story, the name, things like that.
Yeah, and you don't have to publicly, just shoot that over to us in a DM and be interested in to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really captures like movement in a logo too. Like
Yeah.
this is a really good example of you can feel it like swinging through.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The best images have movement to them. They have, even though it's a still image, you watch it as though you're watching animation. Those are always the best logos, the best images, because, like I said, that's what locks your brain in and keeps you focused on it.
Okay, off to our next. So this one, we've seen this before. We've got 2 iterations of it. So this is the first one, Solar+More, with the addition symbol, and then this one with the plus written. So if you're watching from home, is it pentagon or hexagon with a sunrise on the landscape, Solar+More written across, and then some solar panels on the bottom half of the logo.
You want me to start?
Yeah, be my guest.
Okay. For me, it's too busy. Especially if you want to imprint this, like just think of the different types of imprinting that you want to have done. The hills with the sunset, the solar and more, and then all of the solar screens below it. It is busy. One of the other things too is the font. For me, I would use a much more lighter, more of a natural font. I don't know how to say that, but it would have more flow to it. This looks like something I would use in a MMA match, like even in the plus, like you've got the plus kind of with that flow, but you want to show energy. You want to show, and I don't know how much you would need. Like it could be Solar+More with just the sunrise at the top. You don't need mountains and you don't need all of this. Just either an abstract or a simple sunrise. And I think that'll bring it across. People think of solar, they think of solar panels. You don't have to put them there. And there's too much color, too many colors for me. Anyways, what do you think?
No, it's funny enough. The first thing that grabbed me was the font. And I had the same thought as you, it's just too aggressive. I like the second one better because when it's the solar with the plus symbol, that's really intense. Like it's, I had to take a step back. And then when you scroll to the second one and I saw the plus, I was like, oh, that's gentler.
That's better.
Yeah. I agree. I agree about the colors. There's definitely a lot of colors. And part of the reason why we say this is, I don't know. Obviously, it's solar based. So in my head, I'm picturing, people showing up at your house to install solar, and they're going to have this embroidered, and that's going to be really expensive to have embroidered. And the way that it's designed, it's not something that you're going to be able to break down into a single color image easily. You're going to have issues with that. Trying to tell the story in a single color. Whereas, as Norm was saying, if you get rid of the mountains and just have the sun, even if you had a way to keep the solar panels, I would redesign this to make it tell the same story in a single color. And I think when you do that, you'll see, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I understand. I see what Norm was saying. It's way too busy because you can't isolate everything. So if you got rid of the mountains and probably the solar panels, I'm sure if you played with it enough, there's a way you can make it work.
Possibly. Okay, I'm going on the limb. You're not going to like this, but possibly if you wanted to keep the solar panels that much, you could incorporate it into the sun. You know,
Yeah,
you
you could do
you
something
could
like
do
that.
that. But yeah,
Or
I
you could,
agree with these graduated colors. They're just too hard to do.
yeah, and especially because there's a lot of gradients, which is fine because gradients are easy to reduce down to a single color.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, you're gonna have issues once you try to convert it into a single color or even a two color system. I like on the second one how you break up everything and just have it as kind of a clean white rectangle that breaks up the image, as opposed to the first one where it's another square, because that makes it more intense and busier. And so at least with the second one, there's less lines, there's less action
Yeah.
in the image. Because this one, it has that motion, but there's too much motion. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think
Got it.
between the two, the second one is by far the winner with that.
Yeah.
The written plus.
Yeah, I'd love to see it without the mountains. And I don't know, like I said, I don't have a problem with the layout. I just, like I said, with the lines of the solar panel, the mountains, all of that stuff, it ends up just like I find my eyes going from the bottom to the top to the bottom to the top to the bottom to the top and not absorbing any of the information. Where with some of the other logos, like I said, I can't pull my eyes off it. With this one, it's the opposite. I can't get my eyes to focus in any one specific place long enough for my brain to absorb the story that's going on.
Okay. All right. Moving on. So this is s'mores. So if you're looking at this, it is the word s'mores kind of written in like those teal and purple colors with a yellow background. And let me see, kind of written in a fun font. This is for a tactile digital education toy. So it's like for kids educational toys.
I'm going to let you start.
All right. I have many questions. I don't know how far along in the process you are with this. The name makes me a little nervous because it's so associated with chocolate and marshmallows and graham crackers. And I think when people hear the word s'mores, they're going straight to the snack, right?
Yep.
They're going straight to the campfire snack. And because that was my first thought. As soon as I saw it, I was like, well, the colors should be white and tan and brown because of the snack. But then it's, well, no, it's educational toys for kids. And like I said, I like the image and the colors used, although I feel like the yellowish green is fighting with the purple and the teal a bit. I would say maybe do that as white and then just have the green part as more of like an accentuating outline. Because this is really busy. The water flowing around inside the letters again has that same reaction that the last one had of like I'm having trouble focusing my eyes in any one specific location because like that M is super busy. The R is really busy. And not just because of like the liquid that you have flowing around it, but there's multiple outlines around it. There's little dots, there's all kinds of things. And my brain isn't necessarily processing it as letters as quickly as it should. And so, like I said, my brain is fighting with imagery of campfires and snacks at the same time that it's trying to absorb what's actually written in front of me. The green, the brightness of that yellowish green, because like I said, it's fighting with the purple and teal. Like it's pulling my eyes away from the letters themselves. So I keep finding myself having to force myself to go back. Like, no, brain, look at the letters. And my brain's going, I don't want to. I want to look at this green. It's fun. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm a buzzkill. I don't mean to be. I'm struggling with this one.
Yeah. I don't know. This looks like more of a water product. Like forget s'mores, but I don't get all the water. So when I take a look at tactile digital education toy, I don't know. I don't know if it has anything to do with water. One of the things for me, these colors I wouldn't associate so much for kids. I think each one individually maybe, but putting them all together like this, there's too many colors or not the right color palette.
Right. And the other thing, you're 100% right. And to expand on that, the other thing you have to keep in mind is when you're doing things for children, your target market isn't just the children, it's also the people who are buying it, right? Because a 5-year-old doesn't have normally, sometimes, but doesn't normally have the finances to pay for toys and things like that. It's they run over.
There could be an influencer.
That's like I said, usually, not always, but usually, they're running over going, buy me, buy me, buy me. And then the parents look at it and go, no, or okay, yeah, we'll buy you that. And so, yeah, for one thing, you want to grab the kids' attention so they pull it off the shelf and run up to their parents. But at the same time, it also has to appeal to the parents so that they look at it and say, yeah, we want to buy this. And so you have to kind of keep both of those things in mind as you're creating products for children. Of will the kids like it and will the parents like it? Because it's not all just about the kids. And I don't know if the mindset was, if we make it really, really busy, then kids will like it. That's not always the case. Usually brighter colors and rounder fonts, yes, but busy doesn't always equate to a child's mindset.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have their website and I don't see anything like around water or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think one thing I did get from this was, I don't know if you remember or know, the little like foam letters, like kids foam letters that you get when you're like learning. And like for some reason that yellow reminds me of like those bright yellow foam letters that you use as kids to kind of like write out. But
that might even be better. Like the yellow,
right?
Like that hue of yellow would be better than this hue that's being used here. But again, if you can go back and you can rethink this, go back to a graphic artist and talk to them again back about your brand story.
Right.
I think that'll help you out a lot.
Right. And speaking of brand stories, I mean, I think that's what's really interesting about the way the logos are submitted a lot of times, which is we know nothing, right?
Yep.
We just get the logo. I mean, how many have we had so far today where we get the name? Yeah, you're right. See, that would, I think that would work. but where you just get the name, and at a lot of them, we're able to, not exactly, but within a decent area, we're able to kind of pull out the brand story just by looking at the logos. And I think that's really telling about whether or not your logo works, is if we're looking at it going, I have no idea what this company sells. What it has something to do with this. Maybe it's water. And then, Kelsey's like, well, no, it has nothing to do with water. Like that. That's kind of an indication that the logo isn't necessarily working, because we can't pull out what the story is. And if we as experts can't pull out what the story is, then that means, the average person who's either shopping online or shopping in a store isn't going to be able to either.
Good point.
Okay, next one is For Us. This is products made by housekeepers for housekeepers.
For housekeepers.
So like cleaning products, that kind of stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah. I don't think this would be a problem, but having the Microsoft logo down there could be a problem.
Well, that's a window.
Yes, it is, but it also looks exactly
so is
like
Microsoft.
Surface. Yeah.
So is Microsoft. Microsoft is Windows. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's unique. So it's for, what was it? Products for housekeepers, for housekeepers. So I guess this is a blue drop. I can see the roof of a house. I can see I get it. You've got a window in the house.
Right.
So for those listening, it's a teardrop, and inside that teardrop, there's a shape of a house. And it says For Us, spelled FOUR.
I don't know if there's anything you can do. I'm sure there is with that window, just to make it a little bit different, but maybe not. Maybe because it's so like it's part of this logo, there wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. So I'm going to get a little nitpicky on this one, because I think it's close. I agree with you with the window thing. But with this, I might have a mindset of how to change it. So for me, this looks like two logos put together. So the For Us and that outer circle are thin, while the logo in the center is thick, right? Those lines
take away my idea.
But yeah, the lines around the droplet are 2 to 3 times thicker than the rest of it. Yeah. And the issue that I'm having is, when I stare at this logo, I do not see the For Us. It's there, but it only in my peripheral vision, because I am so focused on those 4 squares. That's why you didn't even notice the house, is because the first place your eyes go are those 4 squares.
Yep.
And then they stay on the rest of the droplet as you kind of look around, and it never goes to the name or that outer circle. And so I would definitely pick a different font to make For Us pop a lot more. I would thin out the lines in the center to match that circle, so that it's not heavily weighted towards the center. And by changing those lines, you're going to get a different reaction with those 4 squares, because you're either going to make them smaller. There's a couple different ways to do it to make it look like a window, where you could do, instead of doing 4 squares, do a little bit more of an elaborate window, where instead do the outline of the window and then maybe put just a window sill underneath it. So 4 blue boxes with a black outline and then a line underneath, to give it more of like an obvious window, because Norm's right. You don't necessarily recognize it right away as a window. I caught it after a couple seconds of looking at it, just because I was kind of like, okay, let me explore this. But I don't know that the average consumer is necessarily going to pick it out just because of the way the shape is, and you're just, I mean, your eyes just lock to those 4 dots. Like, it's really hard to get away from them, especially, like I said, up to the name. So hopefully what I described kind of makes sense of thinning out the lines and then thickening the name.
One of the other things that stay there for a sec, Kels. I don't know what you think about this, Michael, but getting rid of the outer circle, putting "For Us" underneath it, or making "For Us" to the left of it and having the teardrop over to the right. But like right off the bat, I would probably just get rid of it. For me, it's a little bit busy, and just put a nice clean font underneath it, "For Us." You can see the logo, and that might work a little bit better too.
I agree with you, because especially with the shape of the tear, or not the teardrop, but the water drop.
Yep.
I mean, you can make like a perfect triangle by putting the font underneath, and then it gives you the ability to move it, like with the other logo we talked about, to move it up next to it, so that if you wanted in like the menu bar of the website or things like that, it's easy to move it around and put it in places where it's usable, as opposed to where the way this is, like, you're locked in. So when you shrink that down to 100 pixels by 100 pixels, I mean, you see it'll get harder to read, so.
All right, next.
Okay, next one. Creation Farm. This is kind of an herbal products, balms, soaps.
I don't know.
You got a host of different products.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a need to have 2 fonts. I mean, that's the first thing I would pick out. I'm not crazy about this, and it's beauty products,
Herbal, like
herbal.
nutrition, like different like oils.
Mhm.
There's like balms, soaps, like skincare stuff, all have to do with like natural herbal remedies. that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
Michael's gonna probably shoot me down here, but the creation, I think by using that font possibly would cheapen the product. If I'm thinking of a higher end, higher perceived value product, I would have more of the font similar to Farm, like it's a finer font, maybe a little bit like the spacing there is pretty far apart, but keep it closer together, and have it Creation Farm, like just you can have it the way that you're having it. Just I would have Farm probably start under the T, if anything. So, anyways,
No, I'm not going to shoot you down at all. I agree with you 100%.
okay. And what do you think about the actual leaf that's up with the cut in the middle?
I don't dislike it. I think that extra little cut, you could take it or leave it.
Mhm.
I'm trying to decide if it makes it more interesting or too busy. And I think the fact that I'm on the fence with it probably makes it okay. But you're right. I agree with you 100% that the word creation, the way the font that's used there dictates the price it's going to be. So if it's on the more affordable end, then it's a good font. If you're going for a higher end, then it's not a good font.
Agreed.
Because like I said, I have the exact same feeling when I'm looking at it is, this is something that you're going to buy and kind of leave on your bathroom counter. That's the way it looks right now, versus something that's, I mean, do we know, is this like a higher end luxury product, or is this something that the average person buys and, like I said, just leaves sitting next to their bathroom sink?
I think it was more on the affordable side.
Okay. And then if that's the case, then yeah, it's a good font. But yeah, again, it's interesting how just the font dictates what I'm expecting to pay for it.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll move on. We just have a couple more. Let me see. This is for like a US office category. It's like a software. It's for the office. They didn't want to specify exactly
Right.
what it is
Yeah.
for, but things like QuickBooks, stuff like that.
My thought, the first thing that pops into my head is sports team. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I know that the image in the O of wolf is a different style than the image above it, because it's different line weights, it's different shading. So if I would make that match, because again, we don't know what the software is, so this could be a perfect fit to the software. It could be completely opposite. You know, it all comes down to what the brand story that surrounds that software is. But my issue just is the image in that O doesn't match the image on top, but because one feels aggressive, the main image feels aggressive, and the other one feels more classy.
Mhm.
Not that they're against each other, but it's just like I said. The one in the O looks like banking. Like I think that would be something I'd see with like a banking logo, and the one above looks like something I'd see with a sports team. But again, depending on what the brand of the software is, either one of those could fit. I don't know that you even need the second image inside the O. I don't know that that's necessary because it's almost distracting. You know, like I keep wanting to look at that one and study it, but then my eyes want to go back to the other one, and I feel like it's whoever did this had two ideas and was like, no, we got to use both of them,
Yeah.
and didn't want to let one of them go
Okay.
when they should
So
have.
here's a thought. Get rid of the O and do the stylized wolf face like from above in that O. And or do it on both O's. But I think if you take that look from above and you make it, if you see the wolf face in there, it's an O. It's the shape of an O, right?
Right.
It's round. You might not even need that other logo. That could be your logo right there, Edonwolf. You know, with the 1O. The other thing is exactly like you say. Like the other option is get that out of there, Edonwolf, and then I don't know about you, but Edonwolf doesn't line up properly. You either make it into a square or something that fits in, the tail goes beyond the F,
Right.
or you make it more triangular where the wolf would fit into that. Get rid of the second logo because it does not match. And even one step further, if you do have a slogan or a tagline, I would bring that out further because you're expanding over the name. Okay, your name, and then you're bringing it back in, and then you're bringing it back in again. It's very awkward.
Yeah.
So I would just balance it out. So either one of those two options would be fine with me. And again, stick with a style. Like I think the font fits that aggressive kind of looking logo. It does not fit, absolutely 100% does not fit that that other image in the
Right.
O.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just take out the fine lines in it and just have the white space in
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah. Yeah. That's an
better.
option too.
Yep.
Okay, we got two more.
All right.
And we'll go through these. This is Lucara. The brand is focused on providing eco-friendly life products. They currently have a set of reusable cups that are dishwasher safe, microwave safe, and still completely compostable. They're organic hemp, cotton baby diaper liners. They also have bamboo steamers bundle that include a set of bamboo sticks, sauce ramekins, wheat straw dumpling molds, dumpling spatulas, reusable silicone liners, and a steamer, adapter ring, and a cookbook. So definitely in the food niche as well. Yeah, organic hemp. Lucara?
Now, first thing that I notice is the L isn't the same font as the L used in Lucara. The other thing is, if you take a look at the spacing within the font below, the L and the U is very close, and then everything else is very wide apart. So it doesn't look, in my opinion, it doesn't look balanced. I know what you're trying to achieve. I think the logo is, even though it's very stylized, I don't have a problem with it. I could probably do something different with, again, putting the L above it. I don't know what you're trying to achieve, though, because you've got this really good-looking L at the beginning. I don't know if you need much more than that. I possibly that logo above it is taking away from the actual look of the font, but this is a very complex logo, and I like it, but I don't know, other than the changes that I mentioned, I don't know if I would get rid or do something different in the logo itself. What do you think, Michael?
I agree. It's an interesting logo in the sense that it's very simple but complex at the same time. I also noticed the difference in the L's, and I'm wondering if there's a reason for that. Again, with having only what we know, like there could be some symbolism in that, in the sense of, it's, if it's pulled from another language or something like that, it could mean something different. So I'd be curious to know why they're different. But I did notice that. So I like the colors. I like that the earthy feel that they have, where it looks hand painted or hand drawn.
Yeah.
Kind of, scratchy and earthy. Like that's it. It gives me a really good feeling. And when I read the description, I didn't go, oh, these two don't connect. They totally connect. The right colors. It's got the right feel. I love the font that you chose. Yeah, try that again. I love the font that you chose for the Lucara. I like the diamond above it. I think it's spaced out. You're right. You're right about the U and the L. And I think I would move all the other letters from U to A closer together, and then shift that over a little bit so that it's evened out. And that would balance it better. Because I don't know that it needs to be that wide apart. But that being said, I do like the airiness of it. So if you're going to move them closer together, don't move them a ton closer together, just a little bit, so that essentially you want the A on the right to stay where it is, and then just shift, kind of squeeze everything from the U over a little bit, so there's a little bit more balance. Again, it's fine tuning, and we're being a little nitpicky, but I think it's an important nitpicky, as opposed to nitpicking just to nitpick. But yeah, like I said, I'd love to know if there's a significance in the difference between L's. Just because I think it would be interesting for the brand story.
Right.
Okay. And our last one, the brand is Parf, Paarf, and it does not mean anything. The brand is intended for the German marketplace, but will be expanding to US if possible. It's a premium household goods. Home decor.
When I take a look at that logo, and then you can run with this, Michael, I'm seeing F's.
And the number 2.
Yeah, that's right. So am I missing something?
No, here's the problem with this, and it's right in the description, is that the brand Parf doesn't mean anything, right? That's from the words of the person who posted it. And so you're running a real problem with that. Is how do I connect with something that's nothing? It doesn't mean anything, right? I'm looking at the image and what's the story? Are the F's because, PARF? Does that stand for anything? How is it premium quality if it's on it? Because it looks like it's on plywood, right? It looks like this is all printed on like a sheet of plywood or something. So why is that premium quality? What about the logo says premium quality to me? I'm having a hard time detecting any kind of story. And again, the poster flat out says there is no brand story. And so how do I, as a consumer who wants premium quality, how do I connect with this? Because I'm seeing F's and 2's and a square, and the F's inside the square don't match the font. I'm going to spend all day going, well, what does PAARF stand for? What does it mean? Is it somebody's name? And okay, it means couple in German. So perfect. So what is the F? Where does the F come in? Because I don't speak
I can't
German.
get my mind off of, or my eyes out of the 2 now. Every time I look
Right?
at it,
Right.
why did you tell me that?
Because that's what people are going to see. Because it's, again, it goes back to that sentence in the description of it doesn't mean anything. And so all I'm seeing is like fancy eye-catching stuff
Yeah.
that doesn't tell me any kind of a story. Because what's the 2 for? What are the F's for? Why does it look like it's printed on plywood? What's the point of the font? What's the F for at the end of couple? I don't speak German, and I get that this is for a German marketplace. So
Yeah.
in some of that, you will lose that understanding from my end. Because I don't know, right? I live in the United States, and I don't understand the German culture, so I can't comment to that. But I can tell you that my mind is going, there's a lot going on in this, and it doesn't seem to lead anywhere.
Okay.
Jessica Rabbit made a good point. It looks a lot like the Fendi logo, which is basically like the 2 F's, one right side up, one upside down. So you might
think
get
we
into
can,
trouble with
like,
that.
at least with my thoughts on this. I think the PAARF looks awesome.
Yes.
And I would just ex-nay cut that top piece off. If you wanted to have quality looking logo, there it is.
Yes.
It's a stylized, beautiful font that you used. For the tagline, everybody says premium quality, if they're selling a higher perceived value product. So I would come up and say, and if you want this to look really classy, I would not expand past the P or the far side of the F with your tagline. Make it smaller, make it, a couple of words, and keep with the same font. I think you're going to have a very classy looking logo without having to have it stylized.
Yeah, and I would definitely come up with a brand story, because like I said, if you just say, well, it doesn't mean anything, for me as a consumer, that's really disappointing to hear, because I want something to connect to, right? I mean, you take any successful product out there, and there's something to connect to. There's something to build memories from, right? Ronald McDonald, the Burger King, Home Depot. I mean, they all have a story that we can connect to, whether it's, Home Depot. I don't know how to do anything, and I could go in and ask people questions and they can tell me. Like, there's always an experience that's clearly defined in the logo of this is what we're here and this is what we're going to do. And, to say, well, the brand doesn't have a meaning. Like I said, that means nobody has anything to connect to. And that's, to me, out of everything, that's the most concerning part. And I apologize again for being a buzzkill.
One other thing, I would get rid of the chipboard,
Yes.
and it's one of those logos, the way that you've set it up, that looks awesome on white.
Yeah.
If you remove that and just put Parf, whatever the tagline is, and put that on white, you would have a winner. But like I was saying to you, Michael, or what you were just saying, the brand story is important. Come up with something.
Right. Well, Nat, and like I see, if you do it, if he does or she does what you said, and get rid of that top square, right? So it's
Yep.
it's because look at that already. That looks 10 times better.
Yep.
And you get rid of the top square so that it's just Parf, and then you reduce the premium quality so it fits. Like I totally see that written in gold foil on a either dark gray or very dark brown, maybe even black background.
Mhm.
And it's just, like you said, then you don't even have to say premium quality because it just says this is
It
premium
oozes
quality.
it. Yeah.
Right. Because nobody springs for gold foil printing unless it's premium quality. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. Like I see it that way a lot better than I would how it's laid out now.
Okay.
All right. So that's it. Also, just to go back to this one, the Lucara, the person who sent this in said the reason why the L is different is just because of like the software they were using, just wouldn't let them use that same L.
Okay.
And that's the same with the spacing. It was just something that they weren't able to do it manually. So
yeah, it sounds like the software wasn't super user friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was great. I appreciate everybody, first of all, trusting sending your logos. We really appreciate that. And then there was a lot of really great, there was no bad logos. There were a couple that needed improvement, but you know what? If you go to a different artist, you're going to 1,000 different artists, you're going to have 1,000 different opinions.
That's
But
true.
just take what we've said. If you like what we've said, make some changes. Just at the end of the day, it's your brand. And again, that's why I like having Michael on, because sometimes we agree on things, sometimes we don't. And it's just, you could take it for what it's worth. And, you always take my opinion. But anyway, I'm the podcast host.
Yeah. never be smarter than the host.
Never, ever. But anyway, that's not hard to do, is be smarter than the host. Anyways, if you want to get into Wheel of Kelsey, please put in hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Michael, you want to just describe the giveaway today again?
Yeah. So it's, I host a portal. It's an education portal where, much like we did with the logo design, there's a forum where you can go in and post things and ask questions and say, hey, I have this idea. Do you think it'll work? And it covers everything. It's not just logos. It's, if say you're trying to do a brochure and you're struggling with it, or, oh, I'm trying to do this website, I don't know how it works. I go in and I'll take a look at it and give you my opinion and help you. I might even make suggestions, or if you're really struggling, I might make something for you. And then there's also a whole bunch of educational videos to make sure you're kind of going in the right place of just how your brand works, how to use it with social media, how to websites, logos, all that kind of stuff to really give you and anyone else who's, especially if you're starting out, an understanding of how important branding is. Because as far as I'm concerned, the most important part of your business is your brand and your brand story.
Very good. Okay, so we'll be heading over to the Wheel of Kelsey shortly. Just one more word from our sponsor. A big thank you to our sponsor, Startup Club, the largest club on Clubhouse with over 790,000 members and growing. They're one of the world's largest communities supporting the startup ecosystem, from founders to those wishing to work for a startup and everything in between. You can find them at www.startup.club for blogs, recordings, and a calendar of upcoming shows, and on the Clubhouse app. Just search Startup Club for daily shows 24/7. You can also now listen to their show, the Serial Entrepreneur Club podcast, on Apple and Spotify too. Stop by to connect, learn, and grow together. Okay, so before we go over to the Wheel of Kelsey, Michael, how do people get a hold of you?
You can go to my website, designfromscratchconcepts.com, and there's everything you'll need to know to get a hold of me. There's a contact page, and you can sign up for a membership, and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's the place to go.
Perfect. Okay. Is it that time now, Kels?
It sure is. So here we go. It's the Wheel of Kelsey. And where did it go? There it is.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right.
All right. Lots of entries today. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Let me see. Nope, we're good. All right. So thank you everyone for entering. I'm going to shuffle up these names. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Lots of entries today. Okay. And the winner is
Claudia.
Claudia.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And congratulations to the Calgary Flames, Claudia.
Yeah. Well, winning in game 7. Very nice. Good job. Okay. Great. Thank you, everyone. Claudia, I have your information, so I'll just send you over the code. And if you have any questions overall, you can always email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com.
Perfect. Hey, Michael, kick around for a second after
Will
the
do.
podcast. All right, perfect. All right, thank you, Michael, for coming on. It's always a pleasure having you and your opinions with all these logos. Our listeners love it, but we'll get you back on in another couple months.
Sounds good. It's always
All right.
always my pleasure, and thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, everybody. So thank you for joining our show today. I hope you enjoyed that. It was kind of like a 2-for-1, learning a little bit about social media and then tackling these different logos. And like I said, whether you agree or don't agree, everybody has their own opinion. 1,000 artists are going to give you 1,000 different opinions. So anyways, what I liked is that there was no horrible logos. There was just logos that needed some improvement, and that's it. Okay. So Kelsey Boy Wonder.
Yes. Well, I have to say, I think this might be the longest podcast we've ever done in the history of Lunch with Norm.
It is.
We're almost pushing 2 hours now. So, wow. Time is flying by. Thank you, everyone who is still with us. That's great. You can catch us Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Also, if you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet on YouTube, this is your time. Hit that subscribe button down below. Ring that bell. Follow us on social media. And let me see. Don't forget to join our Facebook group. That's Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA and eCommerce Collective. And I think that's about it. I think we're good to go.
Okay.
And yeah.
So join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. They don't usually go 2 hours. When Michael's on, they usually do. But like you said, I think this is a record today. Okay, everybody. So thank you for being part of our community. We could not do this without you. And if you haven't been part of our Facebook group, please join us over there. It's a very engaged group. We'd love to hear from you, and enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll talk to you on Wednesday.
Lunch with Norm.